Hello everyone. Okay, we are going out live. So, a number of you were quite interested to hear how Android may work with the latest and greatest next-gen consoles coming from Sony and Microsoft. Just so you know, this is going out live. Hello, good morning everybody. So, one of the major things with the next generation consoles is this idea of first screen and second screen. So, if you're aware, tablets and mobile phones and smartphones are really changing the world. No longer is the television the kind of centre of everybody's universe. It's now very much about, what your tablet can provide as well as your television set. And so, for a lot of the games manufacturers and certainly the console manufacturers, they're very focused now on not just delivering a next generation console, but a next generation experience. Now, I think Android is uniquely placed, in part because Sony obviously are big users of Android across their ecosystem of devices, and also because Microsoft is in the position of not really having a leading tablet. Apple, again, may very well find themselves getting a lot of love from both console manufacturers. What I think is interesting is the approach that both companies seem to be taking. Microsoft is very much stuck in the trenches. It's attempting to push Surface very hard. Surface is going to get an awful lot of love from Microsoft when it comes to its Xbox Live integrations, potentially streaming games down to it, and really using it as a first screen alongside the console and the television. Sony, on the other hand, have a much bigger opportunity because they're not really hamstrung to, attempting to push their own tablet line at the expense of, an experience for everybody. I think we'll see the PlayStation 4 be the most connected device that's possibly out there, especially when you kind of look at the janky streaming technology as well. And there's already been a few rumours flying around that we may very well see PlayStation original games being streamed down to Android tablets. There's nothing to stop that. We've seen it done with OnLive. There's nothing to think that Sony wouldn't extend a subscription model, say if you're paying for PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Plus, which includes unlimited streaming, that you shouldn't be able to stream that directly down to an Android device, especially considering Sony has things like the Android device, which happen to also be PlayStation certified. There is nothing to stop them kind of moving that concept and saying, well, actually, there's so many Android devices now, there's so many game controllers you've got in your Android device, why don't we use that as an extension? Essentially like the Wii operates with its second screen. And it becomes just a whole ecosystem mashup at that point. And I think really, for me, that is where Sony are going to win this next generation, if they haven't already. Do you know what I mean? Just by being respectful of gamers and managing to respect the developers at the same time. Unlike Microsoft, who seems to be very consumer. We have all that hoo-ha over Windows 8, completely ignoring what the users of Windows 8 start and instead pushing their own time and time again. Really at the expense of what consumers want. And as we've seen time and again with Microsoft, when they stop listening, people stop buying their products. Unfortunately, the Microsoft executives are out of their own trees on this one. Sony may very well win this next generation. It's very, very likely at this point. And as I say, this whole thing with the Android ecosystem where Microsoft will certainly pay lip service to other platforms, but it's going to save all of its coolest features to try and push people into Windows Phone 8 and the Surface tablet line. Sony, on the other hand, seems to be very much focused on the consumer, what will help consumers use our device more, what will get more consumers using our devices, and what will make people basically think to themselves, well, it's a no-brainer. My Android device will work with the Sony PS4. It probably isn't going to work on day one, or probably not even for 6-7 months after launch with the Xbox One. And the Sony PS4 is cheaper. Hang on a second, there's something wrong here. Something wrong here in this whole world. How did Microsoft end up more expensive, anti-consumer, and probably not going to be servicing the whole market the way they did with PCs? Microsoft seems to have become Apple, and Apple's kind of become a bit Microsofty. And Sony and Samsung, well, they're just going to soak up the entire market by the time they're finished. When it comes to which device you'll be using in your hands and in your pocket, it's probably going to be a Samsung, purely based on the the numbers being sold. When it comes to your games console, it's probably going to be a PlayStation 4. I know that's the one I'm going to be moving my way towards, unless Microsoft changes these anti-consumer policies and opens up a little bit and decides to say, well, We respect everybody out there. Here's an Android app, here's an iPhone app, and it works just the same, has the same features as our Surface app. I think the chances of that are pretty slim, don't you? Anyway, this concludes our first attempt at a live broadcast. I would love to hear your feedback. Obviously, this is a very first attempt. It may very well not have worked all that well. We'll review the footage afterwards. But please do let us know what you think. Let us know if there's any tweaks and changes you need to make. We need to make. And finally, goodbye and hello.